Welcome back to Weekend Broadcast Horror. Tonight, our unsettling journey takes us to a pretty creepy place. The Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California. It's this sprawling mansion, and it's got all these eerie tales and unsettling occurrences swirling around it. You ever heard of a house built to appease spirits?
Oh, yeah. It's a fascinating story. It's like history, architecture, and paranormal all mixed up. See, the Winchester Mystery House is like super connected to Sarah Winchester. She's the widow of William Wirt Winchester. His family, as you might know, invented the Winchester
The
rifle.
gun that won the West.
That's the one.
So we're talking immense wealth and innovation, but I'm sensing there's more to it, a darker side.
Indeed. That Winchester rifle brought both prosperity and tragedy. And Sarah, well, she experienced a lot of the tragedy. Yeah. She lost her infant daughter, Annie, and then years later, her husband, William, he died from tuberculosis.
Oh, wow. That's awful. I can't imagine the grief.
It's during this time of immense sorrow, that things get kind of creepy. Sarah starts seeking solace and answers. She goes to a spiritual medium.
Okay. Now that's where things get interesting. What did the medium say?
So the medium delivers a chilling message. She tells Sarah she's being haunted by the spirits of all the people killed by Winchester rifles.
Whoa.
They were seeking revenge. They blamed her for all the bloodshed caused by the weapon that built her family's fortune.
She was being held responsible for the actions of others even after they were dead.
According to the medium, yes. But there's a way to appease them, to appease the vengeful spirits. The medium told her she needed to move west and build a massive house, one that never stopped growing. It was supposed to be a labyrinth, a haven for her and for the restless spirits.
So that's how the Winchester Mystery House came to be.
Yeah.
Driven by grief and trying to appease these spirits.
Exactly. Sarah left Connecticut, went on this journey west, and ended up in San Jose, California. That's where she started building this architectural enigma.
And the house itself. It's as much a part of the mystery as the hauntings, right?
Oh, absolutely. Construction went on for 38 years, nonstop. It ended up being this sprawling mansion, over 160 rooms, 2,000 doors, and get this, 10,000 windows.
Wow. That's incredible. It sounds more like a maze than a home.
A lot of architectural historians think this crazy design wasn't an accident. They think Sarah did it on purpose to confuse the spirits. Staircases that lead to nowhere, doors that open into walls, windows overlooking other rooms, all designed to disorient.
Like a physical manifestation of Sarah's own inner turmoil.
Yeah, it's a really interesting interpretation. And speaking of peculiar details, there's this recurring motif in the house, the number 13.
Okay.
13 paneled windows, staircases with 13 steps, even hooks on the walls arranged in sets of 13.
But isn't 13 usually like bad luck?
Yeah, it is. But in some spiritualist circles, it's seen as a protective charm, a way to ward off evil. We don't know if Sarah believed that or had her own reasons. But it's all very strange. By the way, have you ever visited any place where you suddenly felt cold? Or heard a noise you couldn't explain? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, we love hearing your stories. Like, comment, and tell us your experience. And let us know which place you have heard that is haunted. They're back to the house. All these bizarre architectural details, did they actually work? Did they appease the spirits? Or did they just trap them there?
That's the question that's haunted visitors and paranormal investigators for years. And that's what we'll look into next.
The chilling encounters, the reported hauntings, when we come back for more Weekend Broadcast Horror. Welcome back to Weekend Broadcast Horror. Before the break, we were talking about that crazy architecture in the Winchester Mystery House and how Sarah maybe designed it to confuse spirits, but did it work?
Yeah. I mean, if the stories are true, some of those spirits might still be hanging out there in the Winchester mansion. Right. The Winchester Mystery House is practically famous for ghost stories. It draws everyone in. People who believe in the paranormal and skeptics, too.
What kind of encounters do visitors report? What are the most common ones?
Well, a lot of people say they see Sarah Winchester herself, her ghost.
Oh, really?
Yeah, often in a white dress. They say she glides through the hallways or just stares out from those thousands of windows.
Wow, spooky. Are there other spirits there too, besides Sarah?
People say there are. Shadowy figures, voices in the dark, footsteps in empty hallways. It's like classic haunted house stuff.
Yeah. The kind of stories that give you goosebumps even if you don't believe in ghosts. Have people investigated these claims, like real paranormal investigators?
Oh, yeah, for sure. The Winchester Mystery House has been on a bunch of those paranormal shows, and they say they've captured evidence, EVPs, electronic voice phenomena.
Those eerie voices you sometimes hear on recordings?
Yep. Those, and they report cold spots too, like sudden drops in temperature. Some people think those are signs of spirits.
Yeah, that'd be creepy, especially in a house like that. It's like something out of a horror movie. Is there any one story that really stands out? Like one that's super creepy?
There's one that always gets me about this group of paranormal investigators. They claimed they contacted the spirit of a girl who died in the house.
Oh, wow.
They said they even talked to her, used a Ouija board.
A little girl. That's so sad. It just adds another layer of tragedy to the whole thing. Makes you wonder, if these spirits are really there, are they trapped because Sarah tried to appease them? Or are they drawn to her grief, the tragic history of the family? Have you ever experienced something paranormal? Let us know. Down in the comments, like, comment, and tell us your experience. And let us know which place you have heard that is haunted.
The house itself is like a mirror of Sarah Winchester's mind, with that confusing layout and the never-ending construction.
It's almost like she built a prison, not just for the spirits, but for herself too, trapped in all that grief and fear.
It makes you think about the psychological side of things. Could she have built that house as a way to deal with her grief, to escape the darkness that was haunting her?
It raises a big question, right? Why do we believe in the supernatural? Is it a way to cope with loss, to find meaning in tragedy? Or is there something more to it?
That's a question people have been asking forever. Philosophers, theologians, everyone.
No matter what the answer is, these stories about haunted places, they really get to us. Like the Winchester Mystery House. They tap into our deepest fears and fascinations.
They make us wonder what's real, what's out there, the line between the rational and the unknown.
In the Winchester Mystery House. Well, it's a testament to how powerful these stories are, with its strange history and all the creepy stuff that happens there.
When we come back, we'll look at some of the theories behind the Winchester Mystery House. We'll talk about grief and how it can, sometimes make people do extraordinary things.
Welcome back to Weekend Broadcast Horror. We've been talking about the Winchester Mystery House, this place where architecture and the unexplained kind of meet. It's a house built on grief and loss, and this desperate attempt to find peace, like in the middle of all these unsettling things happening.
Yeah. And it's a place that just keeps fascinating us and perplexing us. The Winchester Mystery House isn't just like a bunch of weird architecture. It's like Sarah Winchester's mind, like you can see her inner turmoil.
Right. We were talking about grief before and how it affects people. Do you think Sarah built this house because of her grief? I mean, with all the endless construction, the confusing layout?
It's a good theory. Think about it. She lost so much, her daughter, her husband, and she had this fortune built on a weapon that caused so much death. Maybe all that construction, the staircases that go nowhere, the doors that open into walls, maybe that was her way of trying to escape her sorrow. Or it confused those spirits. The ones that were haunting her, the real ones and the ones in her mind.
So she was trying to build her way out of her grief.
Yeah. And in a way, she did. She created this labyrinth. And it's a labyrinth that keeps drawing us in. People visit the Winchester Mystery House because they want answers. They want to see something they don't understand. I think whether they believe in ghosts or not, they like the mystery, that idea that something beyond our understanding might actually be real.
And that's what makes these stories so interesting.
Yeah.
They make us think about those primal fears, what happens after we die. It's like why we tell ghost stories around a campfire, or why we love horror movies. We want to face that darkness, see what's hiding in the shadows.
And the Winchester Mystery House is the perfect place for that. It's where history, architecture, and the paranormal all come together. It makes us question stuff, like what is grief really? How powerful can our beliefs be? Are we really alone in the universe?
So what about all the theories about the Winchester Mystery House? Some people say she was just eccentric, others say it was her grief, and then there are the people who think it's actually haunted.
Honestly, I think there's a little truth in all of them. The house is definitely strange. Sarah had a vision, and the house shows that. But it also reminds us that grief is powerful, and it can make people do things that we wouldn't expect. And the ghosts? Well, everyone has to decide for themselves. The Winchester Mystery House lets you come to your own conclusions. What do you think? Have you ever felt like someone was there but you couldn't see them? Or experienced something you couldn't explain? Let us know in the comments.
Like, comment, and tell us your experience, and let us know which place you have heard that is haunted. We always love hearing from you. Our trip through the Winchester Mystery House tonight has been pretty interesting and kind of creepy. It reminds us that even in the biggest, fanciest houses, there can be shadows, and the past can still whisper to us.
Whether you believe in ghosts or just the power of grief and imagination, places like the Winchester Mystery House show us that the world is full of mysteries, and they're just waiting for us to discover them.